Welcome back. I'm glad to see you again. I thought today I'd show you, when you learn to paint, it's not how to paint that's difficult, but what to paint. And I'm going to show you a super way today to make up little scenes in your mind, and it teaches you fantastic things. So let's get started. I'm going to have them graphically run all the colors across the screen that we'll use to do this painting, and they'll be in the same order that I have them on my palette, starting with the white and going around. And let's take, and I'm going to start with a little bit of phthalo blue, pull a little bit out. I've already covered the canvas with magic white, so it's nice and wet and slick and ready to go. Now, beat the paint into the bristles to assure a nice even distribution of paint. And let's go right up here and very quickly just drop in a happy little sky using little crisscross strokes. And you allow the paint to mix with the magic white, and it gets softer and more gentle in value as it goes toward the horizon. There we are. And that quick, we've got a happy little sky. And that's about all we need. We're going to have very little sky left in this painting. So all we need is just a little indication that'll shine through the trees here and there. Okay. Let's go right down here to the palette. When we load this big brush, pull it through the color. I'll start with some Van Dyke brown, and we'll go right into this is some burnt umber. Let's go right over here and get some alizarin crimson. Oh, shoot, we'll put some sap green there too. So we've got sap green, alizarin crimson, Van Dyke brown, a little burnt umber. And it's brush mixed. It's all mixed on the brush, different layers in the brush. And let's just go right up in here and say, there. Just start pushing out. Make all these little shapes. Don't worry about them right now. A lot of times when I'm teaching beginning students, I'll take and turn my head and just hit the canvas, and from wherever it hits, from that we make a beautiful painting. And it teaches you how to compose. Okay, back through some of the colors, and now let a little bit of the sky show through in places. Just here and there. Helps create depth in your painting when you're all finished. Okay, so already we've got a background over here. Now we'll do the same thing, using the same colors. And it's basically a brown, because if you mix sap green and alizarin crimson together, it makes a beautiful, beautiful reddish brown. Okay, maybe there's a little tree. There he is. There's right there. Oh, there's a big one. So you just let these things flow right out of your imagination. This is your world, so don't worry about it. You can build anything in here that you want. You have your artist's license, so just do anything. And we'll just begin laying in all kinds of little dirt areas here and grass, whatever. Whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. All we're doing is putting color on the canvas. Okay. Now, I'm going to go right into a little bit of Prussian blue. Very strong, very dark, same old dirty brush. And I'm going to pull a little bit of that in here. Just here and there. I want a little, maybe we'll have a little stream in this one. So I want a little bit of blue. There we go, just here and there. Anything we don't like, we'll just cover it up. Pull down. And then very lightly go across it. See? Water's that easy to make. So simple when you have a wet background. Okay. Maybe we'll drop in a little bit more of this brown color. And we've done all of this without cleaning the brush. See, I look for paintings where I don't have to clean the brush so much. I'm lazy. I don't like to clean that brush. All right. Now we can begin picking out some little individual things here and there, so we have to make almighty decisions. And we'll start way back here in the background. And let's just take a little fan brush. And I'm going to put a little bit of paint thinner on my brush. Go right into some brown. Now I've thinned the paint just a little bit so it'll flow and white. So I've got white on one side, brown on the other. Brown and white, brown and white. Now, let's go up in here and just drop in some basic little tree shapes way back here, little trunk shapes. And you're still not overly concerned, because anything that you don't like, you cover it up. It's your world. You change things the way you want them. And we're just looking for indications. Just background. Just background. Okay, maybe there it is. Let some of these old tree trunks move and turn and have fun. There we go. That easy. And let's take a 1-inch brush, and I'll put some paint thinner on it to thin the paint. Let's start with a little bit of yellow and sap green. I want to add a little bit of brown to that just to dull it down so it's not quite so bright. There we go. Load a lot of paint into that brush. Probably the biggest single mistake made is not loading enough paint in the brush. Now let's go up in here and begin picking out all these little individual things that we want. Touch, push. Make all these beautiful little leaves. And if you practice this, you can make little leaves that absolutely look like lace. There. And just go back and forth. We'll add a little yellow ochre now. Brighten that rascal up a little bit. Okay, maybe right there, right there. Begin picking out individuals. Add a little bit of permanent red to the same color. See what happens. You can just add all the colors that you want. Looks like this is going to be a nice fall scene. And you don't have to make those decisions till you start applying color. That's what's fun about this. You learn to compose as you paint. Okay. And sometimes you have trees that are green, but they're beginning to, Jack Frost has touched them if this is fall, and they begin getting little dabs of red and orange. And there. They're not just one solid color. All kinds of beautiful little things happen. There we go. Just drop them in wherever you want them. Okay, here they come, here they come. There. Just let them go wherever you want them. Some more green. And let's go up in this big old tree here. Let's give him some nice leaves. And there. Okay, a little more right in there. There we go. And here I'm using the brush sideways and just pushing upward. Just push upward. And you want to highlight, you push hard. See? That's the reason you double and triple load your brush. Put a lot of different colors on your brush. Brush mix your paint rather than mixing it on the palette. Mix it on your brush. And all these things happen automatically. Okay, we got to start making some almighty decisions. Where's our land going to be? So let's take the knife and go right into the brown. This is just Van Dyke brown. And begin deciding where we want to have land. Maybe, there's some right back in there. Like that. Maybe there's some out in here. Wherever. Just here and there. Let it go. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a clean brush and pull just a tiny, tiny little bit of that down and go across. I want that quite dark back here in the shadow. See? And anywhere you want water, you just pull it down and go across. Isn't that easy? That easy. You can create water anywhere you want it. Okay, let's put a little bit of highlight. I'll take some Prussian blue, a little white, and brown, and mix it together. Brown, blue, and white. Makes a nice gray color. And we'll add a little bit of that here and there. Just a touch. Allow the paint to break. Now I'm going to use some burnt umber. Also, I like this burnt umber. It's almost like a burnt sienna color, only darker. And we'll pull a little bit of that here and there. Tell you what, let's put a little tiny bit of permanent red in there. That'll sparkle it up. Very strong, so use a very, very small amount. Make it look almost like an old brick color. And just let some of these bounce through and play. There we go. Okay, let's take a little bit of the magic white. We'll put a little bit of brown with that. Cut across and put in some water lines back here. Just here and there. There we go. Okay, I'm going back to the fan brush. I'm going to put a little bit of magic white on my fan brush. Go into some yellow, some green, and let's drop in some grass back here in the background and let it follow the lay of the land. Let it follow the lay of the land. It's very, very important. And it's all right if it touches some of this brown and picks it up. You just carry that right on back. Don't worry about it. Magic white is made to paint a little bit thinner so it sticks on top of this thicker paint. Okay. Now let's play a little bit more. Let's go on the other side. We'll take some Van Dyke brown, and maybe there's a stone lives right here. Maybe a little projection right out over that. Comes down wherever you want it. Say, this is a super, super way to practice paintings and just sort of let them happen. Now we want this to be flat on top, so bring your paint across like this. See? Otherwise it won't be flat on top. And then these strokes come down. I want to keep it dark underneath here. If it gets light underneath, you'll lose it. Keep it dark under there. Dark, dark. Let a little bit of that highlight play here and there. And this is the umber and the permanent red, and then the gray all mixed together, just so all kind of little things happen. A little bit of water line. And maybe, there it is, a little bit right there. Isn't that fun? Okay, now let's bring some grass down on that side. So we'll take the fan brush, and let's just, once again, follow the lay of the land. Maybe it comes right down through here. And let it go. Let it go. There. If your paint gets to where it doesn't want to stick, add a little bit of paint thinner or magic white to it. Either one will thin it. If you don't want to dilute color, use paint thinner. Okay. There we are. And just do this in layers, finishing the layer that's farthest away first and working forward. That way it gives it depth. Okay. Let's put a few little stones out here in the water. Use a fan brush. We'll go right into some Van Dyke brown. And maybe, the there's a little stone that lives right here. And stones live wherever make them happy. So wherever you want the stone to be, that's where it ought to be. There's a stone. This is just Van Dyke brown. And a lot of times in streams there are hundreds and hundreds of little stones. Obviously we can't put all those in here, but I'll show you how to make a stone, and then at home you can put as many stones in yours as you want. And we need, even under a stone, need to have a little reflection. So you just grab a little of that, pull down, and go across. That easy. And we need a little highlight on our stone. So maybe we'll use, let me get a little of the umber color on the fan brush. And we'll just take and lay in a little bit of a little highlight here and there on some of these stones. And you have all kind of old mossy things that grow in there, so you can put a little of the little greenish color here and there, because you always have these little moss creatures that grow on top of your stones and make them slick, so you slide off and fall into water when you're up there trying to play. Okay, now I'm going to take a little magic white and a little firm white and mix it together. Magic white and firm white. And I'm going to come right along here, and maybe there's a little bit of movement in this little stream. This is an old slow stream. And you can do this with a knife just to give the indication of a few little ripples here and there. Or you can do it with your brush. This gives you good practice with a knife. Good practice. Now these little lines need to be basically straight, or your water won't lay down in your stream. You know, we can go anywhere we want. Let all these little things just build up here. Okay, maybe there's some over in here, and they come right around this little stone. See, it just gives the impression that the water is moving, and you really haven't done a great deal. It's very simple. Now, I mixed a little bit of the magic white with this titanium white, so it'd make the paint a little bit thinner than what's on the canvas. Let's go back maybe up in here and just put a few little indications back in here. We're going to have running water, then it ought to run all the way. Okay. Now, let's take and bring some of this dark color down into the water here. Need a dark reflection right there. Then put our little ripples on top of that. A little bit of the Van Dyke. Maybe there's some land areas right in here. A little highlight on them. Now we can drop in a little bit of grass here. And I'm touching that fan brush and pushing and bending upward. Can you see that, Ari? Push and bend it, like that. Keep a lot of paint in the brush. Nothing wrong with reloading it. Just let it go. Okay. Now let's see. Over on this side, let's decide where we're going here. Maybe like so. Maybe it comes right, there we go. See, just sort of let these things happen. Don't worry about trying to plan them exactly. Let them happen. That's the beauty of not having to worry about patterns and tracings and stuff. You're not committed. You can do anything that you want, and you can change your mind anytime you want. back into our yellows. I got yellow ochre, Indian yellow, permanent red, cadmium yellow, sap green. They're all mixed together on the brush. A multitude of different colors happening on the brush. Let the brush work. There we go. And just follow the lay of the land. You can do it. There. Okay. Now, maybe right in here, maybe this water just bounces right off there. There we go. All kinds of little things happening. Alrighty, I'll tell you what, let's make a few big old trees in here. We need some big, strong trees and they're a lot of fun to make. We'll just use the fan brush today. And maybe, there it is, there he is, right there, big old tree. And we'll give him an arm, a lot of paint on the brush, a straight Van Dyke brown. Just straight old Van Dyke brown. Maybe there's another tree right here, grows right next to him. And another one. There we are. So you got to give them arms. Trees got to have arms so you can reach up and gather up the sunlight. Place for the little squirrel to play. There. I talk about little squirrels all the time because I used to have a pet squirrel that he set up on my head. He was a wild squirrel, but he'd sit up on top of my head and eat. Every once in a while, I'd give him a big old walnut, and it was too big for him. He couldn't crack it, so he just carried it around and wear his teeth out on it. So I'd finally get feeling sorry for him, and I'd crack his walnut for him. Okay, maybe. I see another one right there. Another big old tree. And it sort of pushes everything back. There we go. And maybe there's a limb, lives right there. And you can put as many trees in your world as you want. Now then, I'm going to take a little bit of the white, a little bit of gray in it, just to dull it down a little. And just use the edge of the knife, and we'll play a little highlight on this. Just touching. That's all you're doing. You just touch the canvas. Just touch it. Let the canvas do the work. It'll pull off what it wants and give you back what's left. If one comes out brighter than you want, if you keep touching it, it'll pick up the color underneath and it'll go away. So don't worry about it. There. Now let's put a few little highlights over here. Maybe there's a little light shining through there, and there we go. Just touching. And this is just to give you ideas. You know, create your imagination. Let your imagination go crazy. Let these things happen. Maybe there's a little light playing right there. Maybe up here it changes and comes around this way. Maybe a little bit sliding through the other side. You know, light comes from all different directions sometimes when it bounces through all these shadow areas. If it's too bright, just play with it, tap it down. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of brown. I'm using the little edge of the knife. Maybe there's an old Big old hollow spot right there. Big dead spot. Now we have made a place for the squirrel. The little rabbit needs a place to climb up in there and hide when the weather's bad. A little bit of white around the edge to make it stand out. See, make it look like an old recessed area in there. And that's where the little rabbit hides. Okay. Now we need to put some grass around the tree's foots. Clean this all up. Just like that. Just a few little things here and there. And with our little liner brush, we can take a little bit of brown, and I've got a thin oil here, very thin. Make this like water. And here and there, we'll drop in a little stick or two, maybe there's a little thing that lives right there. Right there. There he is. And you decide where all these little things live in your painting. Your little sticks and twigs. And I think we've about got a finished painting. And it's that easy. So I'll take a little bit more of the thin oil, a little permanent red. We'll sign this one, call it finished. And I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It's a super, super way to practice, to get yourself familiar with the medium. On behalf of all of us here, we'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless. See you next week.